Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Chris here, and we're just outside. Nice fall day. Not sure how many of these days we're gonna have left. It's supposed to be pretty warm for the next few days here, but it is October and it is Winnipeg, so we don't know. It could be 31 degrees one day, and we got like 2 feet of snow the next. So that's all Winnipeg's all about. You don't like the weather, just wait. But today we are going to look at two different whiskeys here. We did one, which is the 10-year-old Sherry Oak finish. We did that up at Reed Lake earlier this summer, at the beginning of June, when I was up fishing with my dad and my brothers and brother-in-law and nephew and friends of ours. So we did some tasting up there. We actually opened this bottle up there, and but I said I want to do a taste comparison with this to this. This is one of my favorites. The 10-year-old Sherry Oak finish was the replacement for the Triple Wood, the very famous and sought after and greatly missed Triple Wood. They're both 48% ABV, and they're both from Laphroaig, one of my favorite distilleries. They're both non-chill filtered, and they're both non-colored from what I can see. But I don't know if it says not colored, but it says non-chill filtered, so we'll go with that. But yeah, anyway, this Laphroaig was just, this Triple Wood here was just absolutely amazing. It has been discontinued now since 2020, and was a fan favorite. I was lucky. I saw that these things were on for last chance at the MLCC, so I drove up to a place called Steinbach. It's about half hour, 40-minute drive from my place. Drove up there. They had 3 bottles there, so I went up and grabbed those. And then I had a buddy of mine out in Dauphin and saw that they had a couple more up there, so I gave him a quick call, and he's like, yeah, I can totally get those, and he sent them back with his in-laws that were up for a visit, and I picked them up in Stonewall when I was out visiting my mom and dad. So super lucky for me. I still have a couple bottles of these left. We went through quite a few of these guys here already because they've been so good, and I've got a little bit left on this one, but I wanted to do a taste comparison. I know Craft Cellars, that I buy a lot of booze from, they said, yeah, that'd be great if you could do that as well. And I think I got this bottle here from Craft Cellars, so they were saying, yeah, it'd be kind of cool. And I just really kind of wanted to try the difference, see what the real difference between the two of them are. And you just can't find this one anymore at all. Like, you'll never find it, I don't think, in the wild, unless you're at one of those musty, dusty, hole-in-the-wall places on your travels. And I always stop at those places because you just never know what kind of treasures you're gonna find. So yeah, it's definitely worth the stop, because you never know, you might find something like this. But for the most part, I think they're mostly in secondary market, and you're paying a lot more than what they were when they first came out. But they're both from a distillery called Laphroaig, and Laphroaig is on the Isle of Isla, and it's not pronounced Islay, it's Isla. And Laphroaig itself, it was well, these Irish monks, they came over, and I guess they had figured out distillation, and the Scots were like all over that. And they were like, yeah, we totally want to learn this, and they started distilling their own whiskey. And at first it wasn't very good. People were probably going blind and dying, setting themselves on fire, and that was in 1745. And they went crazy with the stuff, and they were making all kinds of booze, and it probably wasn't very good. Some of it may have been, I don't know, I wasn't around back then. But they had the Taxman come out, and they did not like the Taxman at all, especially the Irish, and that's why they spell whiskey with an E, whereas everyone else spells it without the E, and that's kind of distinguishing the difference between Irish and Scottish, and because they didn't like the tax guy. But anyway, the Scottish were like, fine, all right, if we got to do this, we got to do this. So, and what the tax guy did was kind of legitimized the whole whiskey making process, brought it into a uniform um, way of doing things. There were rules at this time, so nobody was going blind, no one was dying, no one was, I'm sure they're probably still setting themselves on fire with the stuff, because this cast strength stuff is crazy. Like even this 48%, I think you could probably set this stuff on fire. I don't know. It's too good to try to set on fire. But I did try, no wait, I did. I wanted to see if this was flammable up at Reed Lake, so I just a little tiny bit, because you don't want to waste it. God damn it, this thing went up pretty good. So yeah, so you can set yourself on fire with this stuff anyway. But anyway, in 1815, Laphroaig was born, and they started making awesome whiskey, and they are located kind of close to this, well, not kind of, they're right close to this river. It's called Kilbride River, and that's where they get all their water from. It's from the Kilbride River, and the Kilbride River is a really kind of a cool river. It's super clean. It's cold, and what it also does is it flows through the peat fields, so it picks up all that smoky, medicinal, peaty notes to it, like the seaweed and the decayed heather and the decayed wood and the moss, and they're picking up all these really cool flavors, really kind of a smoky notes to it, and that medicinal notes and flavors to it. So and that's what they make this whiskey from, is water directly from the Kilbride River. So when they start making their whiskey, they've got their barley, and what they do is they soak it in this water they've got from this river, this peated water, and they'll soak it for like 2 days in there, so they get really wet, really entrenched with this water. It's all soaked in, and the barley itself is already kind of got saturated from the cool Atlantic air and all that salt and brine and notes from that. So they soak that in there for 2 days, and then they take it out and they start to lay it out, and they're going to start drying this stuff in their malting rooms. So they start drying it out, and when it's still moist, they put it up onto the malting floor, and then they start lighting this peat that they get, with the seaweed and the moss and decayed wood and decayed heather, and they burn it, so it's not really hot, and it's super smoky, and they keep this barley still a little damp. So what it does is it just absorbs all that really rich peat smoke, and it really creates like a really smoky scotch. So and then once that is done, then they start drying it, and they keep it about 16 feet above the actual kilns that were built in like 1840, I believe, is when these kilns were actually produced. So these kilns are super old, kind of a real legacy of Laphroaig itself. And so they use those, they burn it, they put the smoke up into the still damp barley, gets all these flavors into it, and then they dry it, and they start malting it and on the malting floors. And once that's all dried out, they take it down and to become grist and mash. So they put all that dried barley now that's peated, they put it into the water from the Kilbride River again. So they've got 7 of these copper stills there. You got your stuff down there, you can go get it. So once they've started their distillation, they bring it in, and they've got these 7 different types of copper stills for their distillation. So the first distillation, they've got one of 3 of these copper stills, and they're large, these large copper stills, and they run it through one of 3 of them, and that is for their first distillation, and that's for their wash distillation. And then the second distillation goes through one of 4 of these smaller ones, and that is for their spirit distillation, part of the making of this awesome whiskey. And then once distilled, they take it into their barrel house, and they've got all these barrels that are all around, and they get their barrels from Maker's Mark, so they're ex-bourbon barrels from Maker's Mark in Kentucky, and they have it distilled, the whiskey. They put it into these barrels at 63.5% ABV, and they let it sit. And then what they do is they take some of that whiskey that they want to do, and then they start transferring it into different types of barrels. You know, like say, you know, you want this sherry oak. Well, you know, they're going to put it into obviously sherry casks. This triple wood, they're going to put it into 2 other types of casks. And we'll talk about that once we get into these guys here. But when you arrive to Islay, and if you want to go to Laphroaig, you're going to land at a place called Macquarie Moor. You probably heard of that. And then when you get there, if you join Friends of Laphroaig, it's really kind of a cool thing. You will get to have a dram of your whatever whiskey you want. But if you, every one of these guys here, these are the older tubes. I think they're coming out in these boxes now. I know when I was at Spirit of Islay, or a Taste of Islay, sorry, last year at Grant Park, James Neal was there. He's their ambassador, and he was saying that they're going to be putting into these boxes now, kind of like Bowmore boxes, and they say it's going to be more uniform, it'll look better, and it'll save a ton of money because they're not using a lot of this metal and these tubes. It takes a lot of money and stuff to make these things, and I guess they want to be more environmentally conscious, I guess. But anyway, you get these little tab things here, and it's a little book, and it tells you all about Laphroaig, and then how to join Friends of Laphroaig. And so you go into that, you go into laphroaig.com/plot, and then you put this number in. It gives you this little unique number here, and you do that, and then I guess you get points or something like that within it, and it kind of keeps you stay current with it, and then the more points you get, I think you might get other things when you join. But anyway, when you join Friends of Laphroaig, you get this little 1x1 square foot little plot of land. Bug on me there. And so when you join Laphroaig, you bring your little card or whatever, and they will give you a dram, and then you can wander off onto your own little plot of land, and then have a glass of scotch there. It's actually kind of cool. So yeah, they I absolutely just love Laphroaig. It's super smoky, super peaty, super awesome. Stuff they've been bringing out has been really great. I haven't had a bad Laphroaig yet. I've had a lot of different ones, and there's a lot of ones that I haven't tried yet, and there's ones that I have that I've tried but I haven't opened yet because I've tried it at our Whiskey Fest or you know, whiskey nights and stuff with boys and stuff like that. So, but let us get into these guys here. So we will start. Well, we're going to pour them both. We'll talk about Triple Wood first, then we'll talk about the Sherry Oak finish second. We'll compare the two of them in the glass, take a look at them, compare the colors, and nose, palate, finish. Sound good? So let us do that now. So let's get into the Triple Wood. Get this little guy out of here again. You can see there's not a whole hell of a lot left in this bottle, but fortunately for me, it smells so good, I have another bottle left. So fear not, young intrepid watchers, we are not done with Triple Wood yet, but there's still enough here for a few more drams, so we are still good. So if you guys want to come over for a visit anytime, we still have Triple Wood available. And I'll always have this. I think I've got 2 more bottles. I bought 3 of these just in case, and in case they change over time. So I've got one from 2020 or 2021, and then I bought 2 more last year in 2023 or the beginning of 2024. I don't know. I've got 3 of these. So let's get this guy here in the glass and compare, and we can already tell. I mean, I can already tell this one here is going to be way darker than the Triple Wood. And you can totally see that. I didn't bring anything out that's white that we can kind of compare them to, but I think you can probably tell here just by looking at them, you know, how much darker the sherry oak finish is compared to the triple wood. They both start off with Maker's Mark X American Oak casks. All Laphroaig starts like that. And what that does, it kind of really balances the Scotch, but it brings, you know, like vanilla characters, spice, a little bit of dried fruit, some caramel, toffee notes to it. Then they take it a step further and they put the triple wood into these 19th century European quarter casks. And that's what they've run out of. So they can't keep consistency with their whiskey because they don't have a constant supply of these really, really, really old 19th century European oak quarter casks. So it brings a little bit more wood to the whiskey, and it gives a little bit of spice to it and a little bit more vanilla notes to it. And then they take it and then they put it into these larger Oloroso sherry casks, and that gives, you know, the more of the dried fruit, the sweetness to it, and a little bit more complexity to this particular whiskey. So you can see here it's kind of a real dark gold kind of color to it. Like it's a really nice goldy tones to it, or an amber color to it. I don't know if you can see that against that there, but yeah, on the nose you've got that sweetness right away. It's really super sweet. They're not like overly sweet. You've got peat, that beautiful smoke, heather, honey, caramel, toffee, some really nice dried fruit, and a bit of ash to it. God, it smells so good. You can sit here and smell this thing all day. And then on the palate, oh my God, it's so good. And you can see that this is opened up, and that's why I wanted to do the comparison. Oh, it's beautiful spice to it, ash, smoke, sweetness, dried figs, caramel. Oh my gosh, that's so good. But you can see here, like when I was up north, I didn't want to bring this guy with me because this is a brand new bottle. So you can see now that they both have had a chance to open up. So I wanted to do a real proper side-by-side comparison to both of these guys here now that they've opened up. Yeah, there's a lot of vanilla to it as well. Oh my God, and just that beautiful cinnamon spice on your tongue. It really opens up. It's it's absolutely amazing. You can't. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. Let's try it with some water. I was on a booze cruise a couple years ago with Dan. We went to Calgary, and then we went to BSW, and then I bought something there. I forget what it was. We bought a lot there, but I just forget what the hell it was. Anyway, they had mismarked the price and they overcharged me on it. And I said, "Oh, this is like $15 more." And they're like, "Oh, what?" So they went and took a look, and they're like, "Oh God, I'm really sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that." And they fixed it right away. It was like no issue whatsoever. And as an apology, they gave me this. And it's like the water source, the Isla water source from the Kilbride River, as a gift. And I've been like, "You don't have to do that." And they're like, no, it was our mistake and we want to make it right. And I said, "You already made it right by giving me the sale price that you already had on it. And you guys are just being super cool and awesome with everything, because like I buy a lot from you guys and you always given me really great customer service. You don't have to do anything, and things happen. Like it was a mistake. It was no big deal." And they're like, "No, we want to make it right." And I'm like, "Well, in my opinion, you've already made it right just by you guys being you. But anyway, they gave this to me, and I couldn't believe it. I was just like, that's just goes way above and beyond of what I would have ever expected. But you can see I have never opened this yet, so I thought, like, why not try? And I don't know if it's going to make such a big difference of just a little water right out of Winnipeg, but let's try adding a little bit of water to this Isla whiskey from the Isla water source, where they get their water from to make this whiskey. And they say it's supposed to be peated, so let's give it a shot. Yeah, it's a little bit. Just put a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's all we need. Oh, jeez. Oh, it's pretty full. All right, so we'll put 5 drops in there, and we'll do the same thing for the 10-year-old. But let's just see. I know what it tastes like with water because I've added water before, and honestly, you really don't need to. You really don't need to do it because it's absolutely perfect the way it is. But I know it creams it up a bit more, and it's. But for science and for the video, let's try it with this. And right away you can smell that it's the peat smoke is kind of dimmed right down, but it's really, really caramel notes to it. Like when you go to the fair and you get the candy apple, it kind of smells like that. Really kind of sweet toffee caramel notes. Not much smoke. I don't think there's really any smoke in this at all, with the addition of water. The legs are still really good, so you can see that it's really still a nice complex viscous whiskey. Like, even with the addition of water, it still takes a long time for them to come down, so it still holds its complexity at 48%. And with the 5 drops of water, I don't know, it might bring it down to 44, 45%. I don't know. There's Cheryl. Yeah, that's Cheryl. She's a little smaller. Yeah, we got Cheryl and Russell. They're our crows, and they come and hang out. And Cheryl's not very happy that I'm out here right now doing a video because she wants to be all on her own, and I've run out of peanuts. So they'll bang on the window, they'll yell down the chimney just to let me know that, hey, there's no peanuts outside. Get your ass outside and give us some peanuts. But I ran out of peanuts. But there's lots of sunflower seeds out there for them, and I put lots of there's 2 blocks of suet out there for them, and they really like that too. So she's got nothing to complain about other than the fact that she's a bossy little crow. Man, does this ever smell ever good? Holy crap. Son of a bitch, is that ever good. It's still got that spice to it, but not as spicy, but still really nice and just tingles on your tongue. A lot of caramel notes, but like those caramel apples that you get from the fair. Dried fruit, toffee, not a whole lot of smoke to it, but still really amazing and complex and awesome and super, super, super tasty. Well, that one's gone. We have to refill it if we want to with this one here. So anyway, now that one's gone, we have the 10-year-old Sherry Oak Finish. And this, like I said, was the replacement to the Triple Wood. 2009 to 2020, 2020 to present day. So this starts off in the American Oak Maker's Mark, just like this one. And then they take this and they put it into European Sherry Oak casks for 12 months. And they finished that off in there, and it's finished at 48%, just like the Triple Wood. So as we can see here, I've got it poured. Oh goodness, it's so good. You can see that it's much, much, much darker, and it's like a real tawny notes to it, almost like not quite as dark as dried blood, but it's a really dark tawny brown note color to it. It's still really nice and viscous, so still a lot of complexity to it. Legs look really great. Takes a while for them to come down. On the nose, like sweet dried fruit, caramel, toffee, that candy apple smell to it. Bit of like some smoke. You know, I think it was a little smokier when I first opened it. Now that it's had a chance to open up, it's kind of really made it really sweet, but there's a lot of really complex notes to it. A little bit of ash, bit of smoke. No real iodine and medicinal smells to it. Just smells really great. Super fresh smell to it. Yeah, it smells really good. Like it's like that. It's not like overly sweet, but it's got that really beautiful, sweet, heathery, caramel, toffee, apple notes to it, like a spring rain. Yeah, it just smells really nice. And a little bit of smoke, but not a whole lot. You know, it's not. Or Laphroaig that's 48%, or any Laphroaig, you know, you think it would be really kind of smoky, but it's not. It just smells really good, and a lot of that like red fruits, caramel, toffee, yeah, just even strawberry notes to it. Like it smells great. Like it's definitely changed in the smell since we opened this up at Reed Lake this summer. Let's try it on the palate here and see what this tastes like. Really nice. It's got some spice to it, just like the Triple Wood did. Not quite as spicy as, well, no, it's about as spicy as the Triple Wood. And that's where you get that American oak influence comes from. It's got some peat, smoky notes to it, some ash, a little bit of char, some sweet notes to it, dried fruit, spicy, not spicy, but like cinnamon spice baked apple pie. Yeah, a lot of dried fruit notes to it. Yeah, it's just really nice. So let's try with 5 drops of water here, and compare to what the Triple Wood tasted like. When they replaced the Triple Wood, you know, I don't think anybody was really happy about that, because this was such a fan favorite. You know, everybody loved the Triple Wood, but I think a lot of people just love stuff that they can't get anymore. I'm like that. And but man, this was so good. Like, this was just such a great, and it still is a really great whiskey. But tasting the two of them together side by side, which I've never done until today, I think this is a really worthy replacement for the Triple Wood. Like, it's still got the same, you know, spice to it. Still has the same kind of amount of peat smoke to it. Same sweetness to it. Same really nice flavors of you know, sweeter notes to it. um, the cinnamon spice, the dried fruits. This has got a lot more red fruit to it than this one, um, and but they have the same amount of ash, the same amount of char, same amount of spice. They smell the same. This has got a little bit more of the um, smoke I found to it, and a little bit more um, um, ash and char to it, whereas this one here has got more of the fruitier notes and that candied apple that you'd get at the fair. This does the same, but this one's got a little bit more to it. So it tastes like the tastes are really comparable. Really good. Slight differences, but not so much that you are desperately missing this and wishing to God they would bring back this and throw this thing in the Kilbride River. Like they're both really good. I think they really hit the mark on this, and I think with this, the extra sherry oak finish for the extra 12 months, it was really brought those sweeter notes to this triple wood that had a triple cask finish to it, to bring that sweet, spicy, smoky notes to an almost equivalent flavor profile to it. So I think they did a really good job of making a worthy replacement to such an incredible whiskey that was around for 11 years. So hopefully they'll still be able to keep making this, and their casks won't change too much, because this was a really good bottle that really stood side by side to its big brother here, or older brother. But oh my gosh, haven't tried it with water yet. I just kind of let it opening up a bit, but you can check like the viscosity here. The legs are still really good. They're still they still hold up. So the consistency and the viscosity is still really great on this whiskey. The smell of it it's gotten a lot of that the peat smoke that was in there, just like the triple wood. When you've added a bit of water, the smoke kind of goes away, but the sweetness comes up, and man, it smells like you're at the town fair there with that cotton candy smell as you're kind of walking past it. You get that cotton candy sweet smell to it, but also like sweets, like fresh strawberries, peaches, dried figs, or maybe even fresh figs. Yeah, it smells really great. Like really good. It's good. It still has a bit of the peat smoke to it, still a bit of the ashy notes to it. The spice is still there, but it's not as prevalent as it was before the water. But the sweetness has come up. That those fresh red fruit notes have kind of come up, and the candy apple caramel notes have definitely been brought up a bit more as well. But really nice. So that's that. That is the Triple Wood and the 10-year-old sherry oak finish. Both really great. You can't find this one here anymore unless you're at secondary market, but I wouldn't, I don't know, depending on what they're charging for it, I wouldn't go more than $120 for it, because we were getting it for $74. But I have seen it as high as $300 on the secondary market, and I think that's the only time I've ever seen it, was on the secondary market. Somebody was asking $300 for it. But I don't think it's worth $300. It's really good, especially when you can get this in Winnipeg for $109. So if you can get this for 120 or less Canadian, grab it, because you can always get this for 110 Canadian here in Winnipeg. So both really great, both super awesome. I remember when I talked to James Neal when we're doing the Taste of Isla, and Charlie became king. He's not the Prince of Wales anymore. I said, oh, they're going to be replacing the Prince of Wales seal to it, and he said, well, that's a really good question, but they don't plan on doing that in the future. So I think it's kind of a pride thing that they have the seal of the Prince of Wales on it. So anyway, that is that. They're both really great. Get your hands on either one of them. I think you'd really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and share this with anybody that you may find some interest in this kind of stuff. I do have a Patreon channel, and I do have a PayPal account. If you wanted to contribute to the channel, that would be awesome. I really appreciate that. Everything here that I brought out, paid for out of my own pocket, except for these awesome knives from Alexander Forsyth and Delta 7 gear that I use for all my unboxings, and Shelter Point sent me a really great 10-year-old Canadian whiskey that I've shared with a lot of people already. And but other than that, everything else has been paid for out of my own pocket, which is just fine. But if whatever we bring into the channel goes right back out to the channel. So if we get if we get another bottle of this, for example, I will send out a full bottle of this, or whatever. So once or cigars or sunglasses or watches or kind of whatever we can get, if I can get any kind of swag from any of the distributors, I'll certainly be sending that out to you guys as well in giveaways. So I like to share the wealth. I like to share what we have here. This has definitely been shared a lot with a lot of people. There's a wasp sitting here and looking for a dram. If you want some, you can have some. And this has gone out quite a few times, as well as in the last giveaway of whiskey. So, and I think we did one of these here as well. Did we do one of these? Maybe, eh? Could have. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, check it out, and like I said, whatever we bring into the channel definitely goes right back out to you guys. And we are going to be doing. I've got a buddy. He was one of my 5-pack winners of cigars, my last giveaway, and his name's Gary. Super great guy. He's over in the UK, and he has requested, and he's one of my Patreon subscribers, Gary, you're freaking awesome, man. I love you. But anyway, so Gary he has asked me if I would do maybe 10 bourbons paired with 10 cigars. So I'm totally going to do that. So once we get this video out, I will be doing that for Gary and for you guys. So check that out. I just gotta go through the humidor and pick out some cigars that will go with the bourbons that I have in the cellar. So stay tuned for that. Can't wait to do that. That's a great idea, Gary. I really appreciate that. If you guys got any other suggestions as good as Gary's, let me know. I will, if I can do it, I certainly will. And I'll probably be doing I've got like an Instagram channel. It's called Whiskey, Cigars, and Bond. I'll be doing special giveaways just for the Instagram channel. I'll be doing probably giveaways and specific videos only for Patreon subscribers. So they'll either get first look, or they'll maybe win some stuff. Once we get enough Patreon guys in there, we'll be doing some exclusive giveaways for that, just to say thank you, and certainly Patreon exclusive videos that they would get first look for the first little while to see that before it gets released to the rest of us. So anyway, thanks again. I really appreciate that. Have yourself a really great day, and we'll talk to you real soon. Cheers.